To the lack of access. This guy is a walking stand-in, and he can't even stand.
I was going to say today he was standing upright on the picket line with the auto workers, right?
You guys, the UAW, you saved the automobile industry back in 2008 and before. Made a lot of sacrifices, gave up a lot, and the companies were in trouble. But now they're doing incredibly well. And guess what? You should be doing incredibly well, too.
And I put together some of Trump's latest cognitive beauties from the last 10 days. He said you need an ID to buy bread.
On television, one of these characters, there shouldn't be voter ID. Now you have voter ID to buy a loaf of bread. You have ID to buy a loaf of bread. You have...
All right, let me paint you a little picture here. Say you've been in a coma the last few years. You come out of it to find there's two candidates for president, just 3 years separating them in age. The incumbent is on the front lines with union workers making history as the first modern day president to do so. The other stood in front of a crowd of people and said that whale deaths are being doctored and that Jeb Bush is responsible for the Iraq war.
It's less than 4 months before the season starts. We start in Iowa, we go to New Hampshire, we come down here. You know, the beauty was when I came here, everyone thought Bush was going to win. And then they took a poll and they found out Trump was up by about 50 points. Everyone said, what's going on right here? They thought Bush, because Bush supposedly was a military person. Great. You know what he was a military? He got us into the Middle East. How did that work out, right? But they all thought that Bush might win. Jeb. Remember Jeb? He used the word Jeb. He didn't use the word Bush. I said, you mean he's ashamed of the last name? And then they immediately started using the name Bush. Never forget it. But we came here.
Which of the two do you think is considered too old? This conversation took place on Fox News' The Five this week, with the usual suspects impersonating their fearless cult leader by yelling falsities until one of them sticks.
To the lack of access. This guy is a walking stand-in, and he can't even stand. And he's about this close to falling down again. And that's how scared they are.
I would just say today he was standing upright on the picket line with the auto workers, right? And tomorrow, Trump will be showing up at a non-union plant in Michigan. He was not invited by the union to come and speak. Yeah.
Okay, well, I bought bread with an ID the other day.
Yes.
Jesse Waters, a resident proponent of Biden conspiracy theories surrounding his health, was on the offense in favor of Trump. But resident liberal voice Jessica Tarlov was on hand with receipts to remind him that, well, mate, if you're going to play that card, what about your own candidate?
Based on what other world leaders and people in other countries think of America. But you said, okay, you don't need to watch him. Let's just hear what comes out of his mouth. And I put together some of Trump's latest cognitive beauties from the last 10 days. He said you need an ID to buy bread. Has anyone shown ID to get Wonder Bread lately? He said that he ran against Obama in 2016.
Thugs who have weaponized law enforcement to arrest their leading political opponent, and leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take a look at some of the things that he's done. This is the same thing. The country is very divided. And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won.
He ran against Hillary Clinton. He warned that Biden will get us into World War II, which I'm pretty sure we already fought and won. And yesterday, he confused Jeb Bush and George W. Bush and said that Jeb got us involved in the Middle East. And then, of course, there are his authoritarian posts on Truth Social calling for the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to be executed and saying that he's going to investigate media companies that he doesn't like. You know, and can you imagine if Biden said, you know what, I'm going to look into that Fox News. They don't seem to like me over there.
This may be the choice that people have.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. Most of the people who are making the case that Biden's age is a deterring factor in 2024 are just seemingly ignoring the fact that their own candidate, a man who's quite literally been yelling into the sky about an election that he thinks he still won despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
What do you say to that female independent suburban voter who feels that way, to win her back?
First of all, I won in 2020 by a lot, okay? Let's get that straight. I won in 2020.
You know that this,
and if you look at all of the tapes, if you look at everything that you want to look at, you take a look at Truth to Vote, where they have people stuffing the ballot boxes on tapes, or
Mr. President,
let's go to recent. Well, wait a minute. Let's go to recent. FBI Twitter. Let's go to recent. The 51 agents, all corrupt stuff, Brett.
Understand about the Hunter Biden,
no, but
all
that's cheating
fair
on the
things.
election.
But
that's cheating on the election.
You lost the 2020 election.
Brett. You take a look at all of the stuffed ballots. You take a look at all of the things, including things like the 51 intelligence agents.
There were recounts in all of the swing states. There was not significant widespread
We're trying
fraud.
to get recounts, real recounts, not just numbers of
Investigations,
votes
widespread
cast.
corruption. There was not a sense of that. There were lawsuits, more than 50 of them, by your lawyers, some in front of judges that you appointed.
Look at Wisconsin.
That came out with
Wisconsin
no
is
evidence.
spread.
It's almost melting before our eyes. From claiming that he beat Barack Obama in 2016 to win the presidency, that Jeb Bush, the only Bush whose fingerprints aren't all over Iraq, was responsible for leading America into that war, and that the most pressing issue today for voters is windmill to whale death ratio, I think.
You are being struck by lightning than hitting a whale with your boat. There has only been, listen to this, one such whale killed off the coast of South Carolina in the last 50 years. But on the other hand, their windmills are causing whales to die in numbers never seen before. Nobody does anything about that. They're washing up and show. I saw it this weekend. 3 of them came up. You wouldn't see it once a year. Now they're coming up on a weekly basis.
But don't worry, those are just a few, and MSNBC's Mehdi Hasan was on hand, who put together a montage of Trump's best bits.
But you said, okay, you don't need to watch him. Let's just hear what comes out of his mouth.
The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges, how it started. In the failing New York Times by an anonymous, really an anonymous, gutless coward. They sacrifice every day for the furniture and future of their children. Tim Apple. Mike Pounds. I know words. I have the best words. Yosemites, Nambia. Thailand. You have voter ID to buy a loaf of bread. The Democrats, ooh, there was a mosquito. I don't want mosquitoes around me. I'm a very stable genius. The disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection? I tested positively toward negative, right?
Yes, I am.
People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once. Sinks, right? Showers. And what goes with a sink and a shower? 10 times, right? 10 times. Wow, Bob, not me, of course, not me. You want to wash your hands, you turn on the sink, the water comes up. No, get those lights off! Off! You have a shower. It's no good for me. Remember the dishwasher, you press it, boom, there'd be like an explosion. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. And the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible nuclear war. Just think of it. We would be in World War II very quickly. God bless the United States.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.